all get started.
Yeah, all right, let's do this shit.
All right, cool. So, to get things kicked off, this is the first episode that we're recording of Return Fader, which is really exciting.
I like the name. It's gonna grow on me, like the chlamydia.
That's the expectation. It's supposed to be real easy, and it's kind of a music geek thing to say, I suppose, if you try hard enough. But I wanted to try to put together this podcast this podcast, whatever, as a way to kind of hash out all the stupid stuff that's happening in the music world, because there's a whole lot of it, and I feel like I want to talk about it. I have some things to say. I think you do as well, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be said about a lot of things in the music world these days, so we might as well kind of dive into it. So
I don't know how much
I put together a couple
said, but I feel like we're gonna say it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So this week, there wasn't a lot of interesting things, but we're gonna go over a couple things that were cool. Try to stay as current as possible with this. Basically, every mainstream festival for the summer announced their lineup today, so I have a bunch of that ready to go. But let's start off with some of the new music things, new releases that are happening. I know we talked about this earlier. We talked about this in chat previously last week, I think, when this new Atilia album came out. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention again, because I think it's an important cultural touchstone.
I don't think that's the appropriate word you're looking for.
I think it's important to note that it's still a thing. The album is called Villain, and
I think the more important question is, why is Atilia still a thing?
I honestly couldn't tell you. And the thing that makes me the most sad about this is, like, I know these guys from the scene back in the day.
Don't name drop. Just tell me why I should care about Atilia more than the
care.
Huns.
That's the problem.
Okay.
There's no reason to care, and this album is it's sort of like, I don't know. You know when you watch a little league coach go to throw a baseball and it hurts his shoulder, and you can tell, but he's trying to play it off because there's a bunch of kids biting at his ankles, thinking he's the coolest in the world.
No, I'm too cool to go to a little league game. That's not true. I just don't have kids. So here's the true fact. I knew a guy named Atilia. That's all I'm saying. Like, legit. No, that's his name, Atilia, and we would just call him the Hun for short. And he moved
his first name?
A first fucking name, Atilia. I shit you not.
How do you...
I don't know. He banged my brother's ex-girlfriend. Nice guy, though. He drove a Eclipse.
Okay. Now, I feel like you may be misconstruing. You may be conflating the actual band Atilia with a name of a person, because that sounds all like stuff that the members of the band Atilia would do.
Right. I think they might have stole his image. Or, fuck, what if he started this band? I don't even know it. No, that's probably not true. Again, why am I going to care about Atilia? Do you know anything
about, like, the origin story of the band Atilia?
No. Are they Huns?
No, they're
from Georgia.
The lead singer Franz was on a TV show called MTV's Made, if you remember that.
What's his name?
Franz, Fronz, and he's a really cool dude. So like, no shade at all.
No, that's probably true. I'm just being a dick.
Back in the day, he was a super great guy, super nice and everything. But he was on MTV's Made because he wanted to be a model or something like that, and it's sort of added this meme factor to their music early on when the whole partycore thing was around and didn't take itself very seriously. That was
people
like
even know what
10
memes
years ago.
were at that point? Like, this is like, I mean, I guess they were a meme in themselves. Memes were memes before fucking assholes on the internet. Oh, you know, I just Googled them. You know who they've toured with?
No, who?
Insane Clown Posse.
Atilia?
Oh yeah.
Wait, when?
We can find out. We can Google this shit, I'm sure. Just Google it right now.
No, there's no way.
Google it right now. Attila and Insane Clown Posse.
I refuse. Oh, okay, Slam
Ooh,
Fest.
Slam Fest with ICP and Attila. Oh,
Oh
oh.
my goodness.
So what you're saying is Attila knows good music.
Okay, so they're calling them Metalcore Masters, are forming like Voltron to bring you the Slam Fest tour.
Oh, they signed to Artery Records. Didn't your old band sign to Artery Records?
No, we were in one of their like
right, after you left,
things.
Isn't that the thing they signed to?
Yeah, after I left, they did go, but that was the band that we used to play shows with Attila, and it was all very ironic. It was all very like we knew it was a joke, but listening to this album, I feel like they've lost their own irony and they're taking it very seriously. And to be completely fair, I only got up to the point where he called himself Daddy in the chorus of a song, and then I turned it off.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who is brave enough to listen, I did try to listen to this album. And, like, hey, I don't hate metal music, but I got through 4 or 5 songs to this album before I was like, all right, this is shit. All right.
Oh, yeah.
It's
the technical
music that
had
been
the music
written 10 years ago, like...
Yeah.
I remember being a teenager or seeing teenagers writing music of that caliber, which is fine. But then the lyrics just sucked on top of it. I don't know if it's supposed to be like clever on itself, but like your audience isn't big enough to be clever, and they're not clever people.
I think the fact that they toured with ICP kind of sums up the entire concept in the entire issue, and this was recent. This was last year. So, like that's I think that kind of sums up the nature of the beast here with them, is that there just really isn't a reason for. There's no place for this kind of partycore scene anymore, no matter how well executed it is. It was kind of upsetting that they are still around. I kind of wish that they never recorded Rage, which is the album that came out before this, and they just stayed in that cool, like, that weird early 2000s scene thing that had no right existing, but is going to be in everybody's blunder years memories. They should have stayed there, and they would have had a good place in a lot of people's nostalgia if it stayed there, which regrettably segues really well into the next nostalgia bust on the ticket. Why is Weezer still recording albums? And have you listened to the new one? Oh, did I lose you?
Oh, there I am. What just happened?
Oh, there you are.
What'd you do?
I'm not sure. I think you were violently jerked out of the call by the amazing segue that I put together. I was saying that Attila could have stayed in a really happy nostalgia world if they never recorded Rage and they never recorded this new album, where people could look back on their blunder years of being super scenecore and smiled at some of the lyrics that they used to yell at the band. But unfortunately, they continued going and have now removed themselves from happy nostalgia and gone straight into cringe nostalgia, which is why I want to talk about Weezer.
All right. So now, listen, I did like Weezer, and
everybody liked Weezer.
Right,
they were great.
The Blue album. We can't pretend like the Blue album isn't a good album. And then things get weird after that album. I would say nothing compared to the first one, which is whatever. Happens with a lot of bands. I mean, I would say you probably spend at least 10 years writing your first album, putting it all together between the best songs that every member of the band comes up with from when they start writing music that's decent until they actually get a deal. And then your second album is whatever you can come up in between those, unless you have like a stack of just great music on top of all that stuff, which doesn't happen unless you're going to be an amazing musician anyway. Anyway, what I'm saying is, like, it's hard to top your greatness in the beginning, usually, for a lot of bands, and they had a hard time doing it. And I don't know if they're just trying to make money. I don't know if they're trying to stay relevant. I don't get what the fuck they're trying to do right now. First off, you know what pissed me off about them to begin with? You're going to need to edit this shit down. When they made Make Believe, all right? That was the Black Album. I am so pissed that their new album's called the Black Album. And they're... what's the deal with the cover of it? Are they covered in paint? Are they in S&M gear?
They're covered in Venom.
They're symbiotes. Like what is it? What's the deal? I don't get what they're going for because
it's a Dawn dish soap commercial. And they're going to release another album where they're being washed along with all the sad little penguins.
They've already done blue Dawn and green, and those are the two colors of Dawn. So
that's true. I don't know. I honestly I tried to get through a little bit of it. And it has this over sterile feeling where I really miss the Pinkerton.
Is it the bass player? Who's making them make this shitty music?
That's a really good question, and I don't know how to answer it because I haven't seen any of their contracts or anything like that, obviously. So a lot of it feels like it's contractual. A lot of it's sort of oh yeah, they've got to pump out 3 more albums and then they're done. They can get off this contract and they can just rest on their laurels. But wasn't that what the Troublemaker album was about? That what was the name of that album?
No, it just feels like they made Make Believe what should have been the Black Album.
Yeah.
And they had one song on it. I thought Perfect Situation was a good song, I liked it. It fit with the theme of their other stuff. It was getting a little softer, a little more poppier. You could tell Rivers was getting older, but it wasn't was Beverly Hills on that? Yeah, that was the Beverly Hills album.
Which was still a good song because it was kind of gritty. It wasn't overproduced. It just sort of had this
it was just stupid though.
Yeah, but it had the right kind of stupid.
It wasn't good stupid. Listen, all right, it had the right stupid to make money, but it wasn't good stupid.
But that song still plays on the radio.
That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but it still makes money, which is that's clearly what they're out here to do. But why? Okay, first this album of covers that they released, which was garbage. And then they had that other album that came out after that was also garbage. I'm sorry, before that was trash. And that had Pork and Beans on it. And
you skipped 8 albums, by the way. That's how trash they've been. All right, I'll give you the rundown because I've been giving them a chance every goddamn time. So
no, okay,
Black
I'm
Album.
pulling up their discography right now.
Here you go. I'll tell it to you right now. Black Album. Well, Make Believe, and you're like, that's not in order.
No, that's not in order. Here, let me pull it up on Wikipedia. Okay, so we've got the Blue Album, Pinkerton, Green Album, Maldroit.
Black Album. That it's supposed to be the Black Album. That would make sense because it was colored album, then an in-between EP that was a turning point, new milestone album. Because Green Album had Hash Pipe and stuff, so it was kind of this. Ooh, let's step out of here. Then an in-between album to kind of bring them to something new. Then you're supposed to go back to a new colored album to keep the fucking OCD of my album. Can I say fucking on this thing? Yeah, who cares?
You can.
The
you
fucking
can do
OCD that I am feeling that they didn't do it. And what upset me even more was that they all stood in line on the cover of that album, just like they did on the Green Album. And like they did on the Blue Album, and it's fucking black. They're all in black. It's the same thing. It upsets me so much. Anyway, so they do that. And I mean, you're still in black. You can go back and look at the rest of the discography. Yeah, they do that. Then they do Pork and Beans after that.
Then it was the Red Album.
That's Pork and Beans.
No, then what was on Ratitude? Because Ratitude
was the Flying Dog album. That just
and that one has the I Want You To song that was garbage. God. This is where I'm at. This is the album that featured Lil Wayne.
If you want me to, then I want you to.
Yeah.
Right, that one? Yeah. No, Lil Wayne was on that album, you're right. And I can't tell if that was the lowest point for Weezer or Lil Wayne. It was fucking shit all around. Then they did Hurley, which, like, I don't know if they just took a giant shit in a bucket for a little bit and then dropped all the music all at once, but it was a lot of shitty songs. And this is when people were like, will you please break up as a band? And they're like, I don't know. If you give us more money, we'll do a deluxe breakup, which, all right, kind of funny.
That was a funny series, but, like, I have to tell you, man, I couldn't tell you.
Then they took a break for a while, and it starts to kind of come back punky after that.
On Everything Will Be All Right in the End. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the album. I want to say it has
Back to the Shack. Yeah, Back to the Shack is the one that, like, everybody knows.
Right, and it sounds like it would have been on. It should have been on the Fake Black album. So they did that. Then they did the, like, Pacific or California Dreamer stuff. So they kind of were like a little more pop rocky kind of feel.
That wasn't. Yeah. Then that was when the White album came out.
Yes.
And that had some rough stuff on it.
Yeah, I didn't feel it. Oh,
Wind in Our Sail. Yeah. This song. This is a car commercial song.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, and that's rough. Wind in Our Sail was absolutely a let's sell a song to people. And then Pacific Daydream came out, and I'm trying to remember anything that was on this. I do remember listening to it, but I don't remember any of the songs on it.
So here's what I'll say. The White Album and Pacific Daydream, it feels like they were trying to capture more on the like heroin-y rock.
Well, that was the 2016, 2017 was like peak Lana Del Rey, so like everybody wanted that sound.
Right, everyone's on that Lana shit. She's just like, and the best part is she's just sitting there going like, "I love Lou Reed," and everyone's like, "Oh fuck yeah, we should just copy Lou Reed."
Oh yeah, that's what Lou Reed does, and they just that's terrible. But now, like, there's the Teal album is their album of covers, which is all incredibly terrible.
And I don't know if they just released it to be like assholes.
I don't know.
But, like, here's the thing: if they had just been dropping good album after good album after good album, and then like they did, all right, the Teal album should have came out when the Fake Black album came out, and then they could have dropped like the Fake Black album, Make Believe, right after that, and that would have been okay. I would have been like,
yeah, like I feel like if they did an album like within covers, like a week, yeah.
And I guess that's
happened too quick.
I guess maybe that's what's upsetting me is that they went teal and then black. Like they're leaning back into those colors, and they dropped those albums like within a month of each other, and neither of them is good. Tell me what the official dates are. When did teal come out and then black?
January 24th to March 1st, 2019. So it was about a month and a half.
Month and a half, yeah. February is not even a month, which
no.
Not for like racist reasons. I just realized that could sound bad out of context. February's not.
You gotta give every month.
It's just short, which is bullshit on two fronts now.
Exactly. Everybody needs their own month. I really want to take this. I should have made a graph out of this, but I do want to call attention to the fact that the alternative charts right now, the peak for the Sweater song on the U.S. alternative charts was 6th. Right now, the peak for Can't Knock the Hustle, which comes on one of their new albums, is 6. Which
Can't Knock the Hustle got to 6?
No, it got to 10. Sweater Song got to 6. This got to 10. Immediately,
I know Africa did well.
Yeah, because it was a meme.
Right, which is
like
it's upsetting.
Anybody can make a meme, yeah. Like it's stupid that it happened, but like you can just go out and make memes.
All right, this upsets me so much. I don't even want to talk about Weezer anymore. What's next on topic? Fuck you, Weezer. Like, listen. All right. Before we get off Weezer, I will say there was a point where I loved Weezer so much that I convinced. Well, I didn't have to convince her, but I asked my great aunt if I could borrow her, I don't even remember the bank. City, maybe? Because Weezer was going to do a pre-sale for a specific credit card way before, like, pre-sales are so common now. Like, there's like 80 pre-sales, so you can be first in line to get a ticket, and you might not get one because of all the pre-sales. This was before that period of time, and they were going to do a City pre-sale. So I got her card, and I was like, I'm going to pay you back immediately, and I did, by the way. But we bought those tickets at midnight when they came available, and me and my 3 friends. Wait, you were with me, weren't you?
If this was the show that Tokyo Police Club opened up for that my dad drove us to, then yes.
Was Derek there, and did he cause shit? I feel Derek was at the show.
No, because you and I went to see Weezer with...
I've gone to see him a lot of times. That's why I'm so upset. Listen, anyway, the long story is I had tickets 1, 2, 3, and 4 for this show.
Jeez.
And so I was like, I am the very first person who bought a ticket. Like, we are going to go front row. And we were, like, and that was the time when I was young and youthful and I could take a hit. And we would fight to get to the front of that goddamn concert. And they have let me down. They don't get my money anymore. I'm sorry.
No, and they won't get my money. And I believe you and I went to see them at the DCU Center in 2008. I remember this rather specifically because I'm fairly certain this was the year that Troublemaker and Pork and Beans happened. And I also remember this very specifically because that was the concert that looking into their music and looking into who was playing, it was Tokyo Police Club, who still to this day, even with their new stuff, is one of my favorites. And the other was Angels and Airwaves, which was train wreck of unrepresentable proportion. But they did a good job on stage. I mean, it felt like sort of a nostalgia bomb the whole time, which was the point at 2008. But I mean, it's been 11 years. Let's not anymore, Weezer. Let's just not.
All right, here's what I'll say about Angels and Airwaves. What the fuck?
Yeah. It was really just a way to allow what's his name, DeLong, to expand in a direction musically that he wanted to go in, which was just a way to make more money with less, like, with a different audience altogether. He wanted to cater towards the fangirls instead of the punk rock people. Because if he did fangirl music with Blink-182, everybody would have been like, oh, this is stupid. This is fangirl music. This is fan service. So I think ostensibly Angels and Airwaves was the bathhouse episode of Blink-182. It was all fan service and was just his way of being like, I'm going to make emotional music. And it was awful. And it is awful. I think they're still technically a band.
No, you're fucking with me.
I'm fairly certain that Angels and Airwaves still technically tours. I'm going to find out, though. Angels and Airwaves. Angels and Airwaves. They still have a website. Oof. Hey, look, new music from Angels and Airwaves.
You're fucking with me.
I am not.
I quit. I don't want to be a part of the world anymore.
Let's see what their thing says. 2011, 2014.
No, stop.
Live action film in 2015. Yeah, I think they're still around and kicking.
Tom DeLonge.
April 18th, 2018.
Tom DeLuge.
Tom DeLuge and David Kennedy and Matt Winter rejoined the band and will appear on the next album.
Listen, all right.
Yeah, no, they're working on a new one, bro.
All right, here's the thing. If he's got that kind of money, I've got at least a couple songs that he can take and put on the new album, and they'll be good. I swear. I promise.
He's trying to sell him some tracks?
Yeah, well, I mean, if he's got the money to put behind it, I don't want him to keep doing what he's doing. I'll help him.
The problem is he can't sing. Like none of it's good.
Neither can I. So we're writing songs for each other, man.
Jeez. I think Angels and Airwaves is exactly as I described it. It is the bathhouse episode of Blink-182, which is also a nightmare nowadays, but in something that's less nostalgic for us and likely nostalgic for people who are just a bit younger than us. Are you aware of the fact that the Jonas Brothers are releasing a single next week?
No, it's already out, dude.
Is already out.
Sucker is already out, yeah, and I listened to it.
No,
and you wanna know what?
Another one.
A new one?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I listened to the one that's out, and you know what? It doesn't suck.
Really?
It doesn't suck.
I'm frightened.
All right. Before you listen to it, here's what I'll say. Is it good? Like, is it what you're expecting to be good music? No, but they are getting into the same spot that Jay Beebs was getting into after his Disney Channel days. They just made more money, maybe, I don't know, and took a longer break, and now they're like starting to get back to it. So like, this isn't gonna be like a full-on rock band because they still have to shake off the Disney Channel jitters. Like, you can't just come out of being a Disney Channel band, all right, and be like, I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want, kiss my ass, suck a dick.
There's usually like a breakdown.
Right. It took Miley Cyrus years of making music before she could go from Hannah Montana to Watch Me Twerk on Maroon 5's dick. And
I think the whole
looking
thing
at my
with Miley
wrecking
Cyrus,
balls
though, is that she
tripping
did
balls
a lot
out.
of that on purpose. She did that on purpose so that she could break from that image. She needed to separate from that.
And
image.
they're like, we don't need to be that crazy. Like, we can, as long as we're making money, we can take it slow. So I respect that from them. That's all I'm saying. It's okay.
That's fair. I'll have to give this a new listen. Honestly, it looks like I might be entirely wrong. What I'm seeing here is the song was released on March 1st under Republic Records. Obviously, I'll have to give that a listen just because it seems so frightening that it would exist. But
like, here's the thing, though. I've never heard any of their other music, so I don't know how. I feel like I'm being lighter on them than I was on Justin Bieber trying to shake off Baby, because I knew how bad Baby was. I had heard it.
Well, it was Justin Bieber's birthday was last week. I can't remember how old he got. There's a local radio station that played a supercut of his music, going from the original Baby song all the way up till now. And I have to admit, as soon as he kind of crossed that threshold and started making a little bit edgier music, he's a very talented person. He's a very good performer, and it actually got pretty good. I think when you look at what was the song, the Skrillex and Diplo "Where Are You Now" song is sort of like a breaking point for him, where like the Jack U stuff, and that's brilliant. And I think it would be fun to watch more people who were in that boat kind of cross over that. Like, you look at the Jonas Brothers, I'm not sure what they're capable of, because I know their whole thing was they started on a movie. And they were like the centerpiece of a movie as a band, and then they started, selling music to go along with it. It would be interesting if the three of them somehow were to break out of the Disney thing and create a band or a musical style that actually broke away from that origin story, because they have the Jonas Brothers is a character. Like, it's not a band, it's a character in a movie. The movie, it's called Camp Rock from Disney, and it was a made-for-TV movie, and that's the origin story of, quote, the Jonas Brothers, unquote, and Demi Lovato. So, like, it would be interesting to see if they can kind of break out of that and create something more interesting, because they could, like, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but like they have the performing skills to be a decent band. They're probably not writing their own stuff, but they have the performing skills to do something. And I think it will be fun to kind of watch as more of these sort of like Disney Channel bands, like post the Monkees nonsense, starts to turn itself into something cool, you know?
Yeah, no, I want to see all that shit.
Well, we'll be watching with
All right, Joe Bros, you're gonna get a pass on this one. It's not as bad as the world's
the
gonna
Coliseum.
think.
This is the thumbs up and thumbs down. Like, no, you're not allowed to make music anymore.
Yeah, no, we'll let them slide on this one. All right, we'll see what they do. I'm not expecting them to be, dark and cutthroat, but like, all right, you don't have the whole Disney empire backing you. Can you still make a good beat? Can you make a good tune?
Yeah. I totally agree, and I think there's a lot that we can look forward to with some.
You know what I want to see? Here's what I want to see: Jonas Brothers, Cardi B.
I mean, nice segue. You tried so hard.
No, fuck you. I want to see the two of them together. All right, if they want to get out of their element, right? What gets a little preppy boy out of his element more than a Bronx stripper, man? Whoa, made me into the deranged man I am.
And I honestly think that there's a lot of merit to that, because that's what Miley Cyrus did with who was it that she did that song with? She did a song with a dubstep artist that was basically just a drug dealer, and it was like super obvious what was happening. But I want to call attention to the fact that Cardi B is not a perfect person, but is doing a wonderful job of just destroying everything these days. And if you look at the R&B charts for Cardi B, where is it? The streaming charts for R&B for Billboard? I can't remember, but she consistently is just destroying herself on this chart, and it's honestly, it's amazing. She has been number 1 on the charts for like several months now, and her newest song is up there already. She's doing a really great job. I'm honestly impressed, and she was the first woman to get the Grammy for new rap album.
And she's gonna dog walk a bitch.
Right, which is fantastic. Anybody who's willing to just kind of throw it on the table like that absolutely gets a pass for me, which I love. Find her actual chart history, because it's fascinating how well she's done.
I wish I could do those noises. My palate's too small. I can't make those kind
first
of noises.
Woman to rank like first, second, and third in a week. Like, she's done a very, very good job, and I'm impressed. This is, as one can imagine, she's the second woman to exchange herself in first place. She's the 10th
That's what I'm saying. She's not super articulate, but like, she's not fucking stupid. She's figuring all this shit out. There's a lot of people who are quite poetic that can't figure out how to get a fucking Grammy so they can eat a whole bag of like, here, look at my field. Look at this shit. Look out in the winter here. It's barren. I have no fucks to give. I'm not growing shit in this field.
She does a fantastic job of putting out an air of very, very down to earth, while still doing nothing but rapping about how much money she has, which is hilarious.
As she should rap about how much money she has.
I mean,
I don't have money, and I write songs about having stuff.
It's really it's pretty impressive what they've gotten done in regards to like how much material they can write for her, or how much material she can write, and how fast she can pump it out. Because if you look at this on my screen, I've got up right now the list of people who have replaced themselves at number 1, and the top of that is Drake. He has 6 of these replacements. But if you look at who else has done it, it's Nelly, Usher, 50 Cent, Bow Wow at one point, which is hilarious. Lil Wayne, Kendrick Lamar, Chris Brown, which that hasn't aged well, especially the song called "Hold You Down," and Drake, and it looks like Nicki Minaj did it at one point too. But like, it's impressive that she's been able to do that as quickly as she has, and coming onto the scene, like when did her first track come out? Do you remember when Bodak Yellow happened?
Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. It feels like it. It honestly feels like it. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was her sort of. It was a cover. Well, not a cover. She was rapping on. So it was 2017, 2 years ago. She went 2 years of having music being played live. She won a BET Viewers Choice for that song. Now she's got a Grammy. She's replacing herself on the top charts. She's got 1, 2, and 3 on the charts. She's doing massive stuff really, really quickly. And like, honestly, I think what we have with her is going to be very reminiscent of what we had with Nicki Minaj early on, and very reminiscent of what we had going back even further with Britney. So I think this is absolutely somebody to keep watching. I think that this is
I
a
think
flash
she
in
has
the pan.
the potential to go full Remy Ma.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I this is it's either going to explode in a shower of sparks, or we're going to be impressed for a long time. And I like to vote for the latter, just because I have been impressed by the execution, both from her and from her team of management, on how well they've done staying at the top of the charts and doing the right thing, and still being able to make these PR choices that paint such a perfect person, which is rad. So I'm excited to watch where she goes with it. She's still got a lot of flaws. Like, she's super transphobic. I don't have a reference for that conversation. I believe it was in an interview where she said some pretty transphobic stuff, which is my least favorite thing. But outside of that, doing a pretty good job. And I think that's something that we should be commending, which is why it's on the list today. But moving out of things that are happening now, I think we've talked about this previously, and this is my favorite thing in the world because there was a response. Corey Taylor of Slipknot, the lead singer of Slipknot, goes live and says that Imagine Dragons is the new Nickelback, which is super offensive to the folks in Imagine Dragons.
New Slayer.
Yeah, and that's fine. I agree. I entirely agree, but I want to call attention to the fact that the fine folks at Imagine Dragons responded to the hateful comments. And
they called them hateful?
Yes. So they said they say that Nickelback is the scapegoat of rock and roll, and that they're passing the baton to Imagine Dragons, and he loves it. This is what Corey Taylor said. He says, "I'll tell you who they are. They're awful. They're from Las Vegas, so I'm going home to protests. People are slowly coming back to appreciate Nickelback and turning their irksome ire towards Imagine Dragons," which is hilarious. Reynolds, what's his name? What is his first? Dan Reynolds. He's generic guy. Dan Reynolds says, "For a decade now, I've dealt with the critics and other bands saying extremely harsh things about my band. Not what I would call, quote, fair criticism, unquote, which I always try my best to receive and learn from, but actual clickbait horseshit words filled with vile hate meant to feed humanity's need to laugh at each other's imperfections and fails. I've stood silently and taken it for years. It has added to the depression I've dealt with since youth. I don't say this in search of sympathy, but just as a fact." It's like, he says, "I've gotten over the fact that guys in other bands, the 1975, Foster the People, Smashing Pumpkins, Slipknot, and etc., feel a need to talk badly about my band for whatever reason." And he just goes on to talk about how he's just sad that his favorite bands hate him. And it's like, dude, I'm really sorry. I want to feel for you, I really do. But there's an easy solution, and it may not be all that easy. For all I know, I play music. I know kind of what's going on here, but the easy solution to this is to stop making garbage music. If you don't want people to make fun of you for making corporate sellout music, stop making corporate sellout music. This dude's so rich. They make so much money off of that garbage. They make so much money off of that. He shouldn't care what Corey Taylor has to say. He should just send him a bottle of
That's
Dom
what I'm
Perignon
saying.
And say, nice
Fuck
riff,
off.
bro.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing. I'd be like, Corey Taylor, you can yell at me all you want, but yell at me as I pass you in my fucking gold-plated Lamborghini, motherfucker! Oh my god. All right,
it
here's
feels
the thing.
like manufactured beef.
It is. It probably is, and it's you know what? Corey Taylor probably paid him to fucking sound more fucking relevant nowadays. All right.
Yeah, because
fuck you, Slipknot
is another band that needs to stop.
Stop dragging your fucking dead corpse along. Nothing's been
that was a tenet of Slipknot. Was
you made one good album with soft songs on it? It was subliminal verses, and then you went from there. You're like, they're not so fucking subliminal, huh? We're gonna shove them in every fucking song we can fucking make. And by the way, fucking band members are dying. We're kicking out good members. We don't even know what the fuck we're doing anymore. I'm just fuck you, Corey Taylor. Oh my god. Stop bitching. He's just so upset that he tried to sell out and he didn't make that much fucking money. That's what he's pissed off about.
Like
he made a fucking sellout band with fucking whatever they're called. What's his other shitty band called?
Stone Sour.
Stone Sour. First album, pretty good. Second album, he was like, hey, Jim Rue, you want to try and make some more money? And then they fucking sucked some corporate cock to try and make that album. And then they kept making albums that got shittier and shittier. And the guys over at fucking Imagine Dragons have a similar deep voice to him, right? It's the same kind of, I sing in this fucking key, and not a lot of people can sing this low and make it sound so sweet. And he's like, it's all my fucking gig. And he's making money, and Stone Sour fucking isn't. And he's like, fuck me. And then he kicks Joey Jordison out of his band for, I don't know, maybe he's got good reason, but I couldn't see it. And then besides the fact that Slipknot was like, yo, if any of us are out of the band, we're done with this shit. Oh, one of us is dead. Let's just have someone else fill in. And then let's make not as good music. And they have another goddamn album coming out. That's what I'm saying right now. There's another Slipknot album coming out. The last one, I was like, all right, I feel your pain. And listen, if they're going to do another album, it has to be the last album. And it just has to be Corey Taylor apologizing for all the shitty music he's made sometimes. And all of them just being like, we're all human. Shit happens. Sometimes you're sad. Sometimes you're happy. And like that's life. Just leave it at that. Then they can tour for fucking the rest of whenever and play their music. They're getting old, so they should probably call tours quit. Sooner than later.
I totally agree. And having seen Slipknot several times live before the passing,
it's gotten
of Paul
worse
Gray,
every time.
Yes, even before that, it was getting worse every time. And I think as these bands, especially these super intense bands, start to age, if they're still making music, if they're still producing new stuff,
just stop
and the new
it.
stuff is, if it's aging with them, then they need to change the outlook, the whole thing. Like don't like, if you're gonna start making soft music, go ahead, start making soft music, but stop bringing so many flamethrowers on stage because it just kind of looks sad.
Right.
So I think that's absolutely what's going on. And in that realm, there's a lot of bands that haven't toured in a long time that are coming back. There is this thing going on this year, August 16th through the 18th in Watkins Glen, New York, the Woodstock 50th anniversary event.
No. Stop it. Get out of here with that shit. I know all about it.
Have you seen any of the leaks? There's people who are leaking the lineup, and I do you not want to see a show that headlines with Jay-Z, but also has Robert Plant, but also has Run the Jewels, but also has the Lumineers, but also has Pussy Riot? You don't want to see that?
No.
You don't want to see Imagine Dragons headlining the Woodstock Festival?
I don't want to see the new Woodstock.
Look, we're looking at Santana. We're looking at Ringo Starr. We're looking at the Doobie Brothers and the Edgar Winter Band. Come on. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Is it? I'm waiting for you to pick a band I like.
I honestly, I'm not sure what to expect out of this. It's frightening. We've got The Dead and Company, so John Mayer's going to be there.
That is all right. Okay.
You got Chance the Rapper, which is
okay.
But
Is this why all the other festivals suck?
I want to imagine so.
Is this going to be some big reveal like, oh, by the way, Woodstock?
Yeah, by the way, everybody's doing.
Everyone's doing Woodstock, and that's why no one's doing any of the other festivals. No, that's why they all blow a bunch of fucking horse dicks this year.
I wish I knew, but I festival lineups is a big part of this week.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The first one, a lot of people say it was good, but it's so old now that only the good parts of the legend get to live, you know? Like, eventually
totally
things
agree.
get old enough where, like, they don't want to make it seem so bad. Like, you talk to old white people now, and they're like, slavery? That was just kind of having a job and not really getting paid, you know? You still had housing and stuff. And you're like, you were whipped and tortured, and you lived in a fucking shack if you were lucky. Fuck you.
I don't think it's fair to compare music festivals from the 60s with slavery, personally.
All right, that is definitely fair to say on your part. That was a pretty neat comparison. But, I mean, you know what I mean? Over years, even people will be like, the good old days, you know, the 50s. And you're like, the 50s, when women had to stay in the kitchen and weren't really allowed to go to college.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean. People look at these festivals and they think, oh, yeah, if only we could have a life-changing, you know, like, what was it, Live Aid with Queen.
Right, all right.
Like,
let's be realistic about these festivals. There's no one being like, oh, man, I remember there not being a porta potty and having to shit outside of my car and then wipe my ass with whatever I could find. I had a paper bag and some old papers in the back of my pickup truck that I used, and that was some pretty good stuff. Some people were stuck. They had to just wipe their butt on the ground like a dog.
I don't think that that's what people are doing. I do, however, think that you could probably wipe your ass with this year's Boston Calling lineup.
Oh my God, yes. Dude, for the price of it, all right, I am paying less to go see 21 Pilots fucking front row than it would cost to go to them playing at Boston Calling, and they're the only good band playing. Travis Scott,
I want to agree. I want to agree, but there's stuff on Boston Calling this year that just shouldn't be here. Like, first of all, why is Greta Van Fleet playing everything? You know what? Don't answer that. I don't even want to know.
What?
21 Pilots is headlining Boston Calling. They played it last year. They do a great live show. It's whatever. But we've also got...
I'm stoked to see their live show.
Oh, yeah. No, they do a great live show. I need to catch them live at some point.
But that's...
Can we talk about the
big
fact that
festivals
Turnstile...
like that is not the best way to go see them live. You want to see them live in a stadium when it's them in their own element and they control all aspects of the show, not them going to someone's show and trying to set up their experience and show in a show. Although,
absolutely.
I will say Eminem kind of crushed it last year at Boston Calling.
Because there's nothing
Queen
to the Eminem
set. No, there's a lot to the Eminem set. You'd be surprised, man. He's got multiple bodies worth of bands on stage. He's got multiple drummers. He's got multiple bass players for different shit going on. DJs. He's got singers that come on, instruments that come on, like guitar, saxophone, trumpets, whatever he needs, whatever sound he needs. He has enough money to pay someone to come do it live and play it like it is on the album, and then do just some slight improvisation to make it a little catchier, a little cooler, add a little soul to it. That's not going to throw it off beat. It still works in the rap. Like, I don't even know how much he pays for these people to come on there and be like, make sure it still kicks as hard as it needs to kick and it hits where it needs to hit, but then any little second you get to yourself, just throw a little jazziness to it.
That's how live rap has been for forever.
And that's how it needs to be. And it's
and that's
great
how it needs to
see
be.
it. And what I really liked, I'll be honest, is when he played that song he's got now with something about rain. It literally started raining or waterfalls or whatever. It was just great. And I was like, holy shit, this just worked. And then 50 Cent came out. He had a bunch of people that like just showed up.
50 Cent's drummer is actually a very well-known drummer, and 50 Cent does an incredible job with his live band when he does a live band. And that's been like a huge part. You know, he's a Connecticut guy. All of his guys are Hart School kids and everything. So it's that 50 Cent does a great job with that. But like the Boston Calling list this year, Travis Scott will not have a live band. Logic might have a choir and a I don't know, bank of Nintendos behind him, but Sheck Wes is on this. Does anybody think that Sheck Wes is like not just a joke? Like, do people actually enjoy him, or has it just been a joke for Mo Bamba? Because why is he so high up on this list, and does he have more than just Mo Bamba?
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Sheck Wes. Do you know the song Mo Bamba?
No.
Okay. I'm surprised that you don't. It's the song that sounds like a joke, where there's just this guy who's sort of mumbling like he's singing, and it's not a good song here. I feel like you kind of need to. I'm gonna. I feel like. Can you hear this? No, you can't hear this. I'm gonna just drop this over here for you to take a quick little gander at it. It's embarrassingly bad, and it feels like it's a joke. Like, it feels like a prank the whole time. And this guy's getting a bunch of work off of this song, and I don't know how.
Oh.
Do you remember like Ice JJ Fish?
This song.
Yeah, this song, and I'm like really concerned about that. But like,
no, Ariel likes that song.
Yeah, but like, why is he playing the same shows as Tame Impala and Hozier? And what about Turnstile, a metal band or a punk rock band, is playing? Like, I don't know. And also Fred Armisen is playing a set. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Harvard Athletic Complex. That's I can't. They've got Imogen Heap is playing, and so is Fred Armisen and Travis Scott. I just can't with Boston Calling. It's not even a festival anymore. It's just a gathering of people who think IPA is the highest of art.
Well, they do have a lot of stages, and it'll be a very large area. So what'll happen is you can only see
Oh yeah, no, you're only
1/3.
gonna see a few. Yeah, it's just like any other festival, but
You
there's
only
no
get to see one
cohesiveness.
third of it, and what really sucks is usually the bands you want to see are all on at the same time.
Yeah, and that's every music festival. Every festival I've
And they're
ever been to
far
has
enough
been like
away from
that.
each other that you can't hear even with the giant boom bada bass.
Yeah,
Ah!
which is the way it's supposed to work. And there are some places that do a really good job of that, but like festivals in general, they either need to be a festival of upcoming art or it needs to be somehow coherent, which bothers me. Like
Right, which is why
why
Levitate is the only good festival.
yeah, and that makes sense. Also, The
The-
Gathering is the only good festival.
By
the
that
gathering
logic,
the
yes.
gathering of the juggalos.
It's not the only good festival because I just named one, but it is a festival that if that's your cup of tea, you're right. That is a good festival. All right. So Levitate's not the only good festival. Levitate is one of a handful of good festivals.
Right, but you can also say that if you were looking for a really good festival experience, South by Southwest is great. But a lot of that has to do with just the sheer volume that you can tailor that festival to your own needs. Like looking at a festival like Coachella, where you might have 8 or 9 stages. Even with 8 or 9 stages, like you're not going to stand at one stage and get basically the same experience the whole time. You're still going to go, from one place to the next. So, like Coachella's lineup officially came out this year.
Who's
And
playing?
I Childish Gambino, which bless up Gambino. I'm all over that. I love him. I'm glad that that's happening. But this list is just kind of all over the place. Like a lot of these names I don't know. A lot of these names are like just weird California people. Um like Anderson Paak is playing, yeah, cool. Casey Musgraves is playing, cool, yeah, cuz she's super hip. DJ Snake, Diplo, cool. But like you start to kind of like boil down who else is playing. Like you get off of the first few days here, or like yeah, the 12th and 19th, the Friday there. You get onto the next show. You've got Solange, you got Kid Cudi, then you've got Weezer, then you've got Aphex Twin and Bass Nectar, and then you've got Wiz Khalifa and Fortet, who, if you're a fan of like the grime scene, people are saying Fortet might actually be Burial. There's a lot of that's a different podcast for a different day. But Mac DeMarco is on that same day or that same like list. So is Virgil Abloh, the creative designer for Louis Vuitton and Off-White. I don't know. There's a lot of like weird stuff. Like Chan is playing the same list here as Tame Impala and Bass Nectar. And I love Chan. They're one of my favorite bands. It's just so all over the place. Like, what is happening? And like the last day, you've got Ariana Grande and Khalid and Zed, and like that one makes a little bit more sense. Still in Francis Church's YG. These people, yeah, I could see all these people being the same fans as Playboy Cardi and Blood Orange and Pusha T. Yeah, that makes sense. But like, man, this list has a lot of names that I've never seen, and I might just be getting old. But generally, when I look at a list like this, I'm able to note a lot of these people.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't.
getting old as fuck.
I don't know,
Get
man.
over
This
it.
just it doesn't look that great. Like,
No, I mean, yeah, you're getting old and the lineup doesn't look as great. I mean, maybe if I was a big fan. Here's the thing. Remember the days when we were looking at these lineups and we were big fans of a bunch of the names that were really small? And you're
yeah,
like,
and that's what
oh,
I'm wondering. But like, I'm
I pay X amount of $100 and I get to go see 7 bands that I really like, and then all these big bands. I mean, I guess I might as well see Ariana Grande live in concert once, and Khalid live in concert once. Like that's definitely happened to me. I remember going to fuck me from a previous comment, uh, Nickelback concert because they brought this little opener with them called Seether, and I wanted to see them live in concert, and they kicked
Seether the band.
ass.
Isn't Seether the band where the lead singer like has a heroin pass out on stage every couple shows and they don't
Yeah,
refund you?
that was before he was fucking up all the time. They were pretty good at the time. And you know what? I went to a Hoobastank concert once.
That I'm okay with.
You shouldn't be. And it was only because they were playing with Velvet Revolver, and Velvet Revolver fucking kicked ass. I'll tell you that. Fuck you,
I
Hoobastank.
want to know who some of these people are, but like I feel like should know. And I got really excited. I saw Riff Raff on this list. I was like, oh man, they let him out again. And then I realized it was Hooray for the Riff Raff. Isn't nearly as funny. But still. Yeah, Coachella doesn't look not on my list of I don't know.
No, none of the festivals look really good. But you know what? I will tell you right now, 2019 has been my year of concerts.
So far, yeah,
Dude, I saw Y do Alopecia fucking front to back, and then throw
good.
some shit on top of it, and I was literally standing like 5 feet from him, maybe.
I was literally standing I'm
Next
pretty
to
sure
me.
that our shoulders were touching that whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We were in the very front row, and we got to watch the whole damn thing. It was amazing.
And I anticipate there being a lot of other great opportunities like that, especially on the smaller side. Like I know there's that show that you just booked in September that's coming up featuring Total Collision and Yuzu and Keepers of the Vibe, which is it's all local stuff, but man, that's gonna be a killer show. Those three bands are
a good local show. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's gonna be great, and there's a lot of other stuff that's coming up that's gonna be great. Like I know Polyphia is gonna be swinging around at Toad's Place pretty soon, which is gonna be incredible. There's a lot of really cool stuff that's happening now, in as far as like good concerts, good tours that are going around. There's also some really confusing stuff going on in tours that I read about the other day. Do you know Switchfoot?
Like the Christian rock band?
Yeah, the Christian rock band Switchfoot. Yeah, they're the opening act for Bon Jovi.
I could see that.
But only in Switzerland, Poland, Belgium, and Austria, which adds a layer of just why is this happening to the entire mix. I just why, like, who is that for? Who's gonna buy a ticket based on the fact that Switchfoot and Bon Jovi are on it? Like, what character buys that ticket? That's my question.
I don't know, man. You got me.
It's like a soccer moms only sort of concert. It's just very strange. They're very excited about it too, which is, you know, I suppose you're supposed to get excited. Speaking of being excited, are you ready for the new Tool album?
Taylor Swift?
Yes, no, Tool. Tool themselves. The band Tool. It looks like there's a very good chance that it's done. Hard to say. This rumor is entirely based on the fact that Tool posted a picture of them with their producer, Bob Ludwig, who has a huge catalog of amazing stuff. He's done Led Zeppelin and Rage Against the Machine and Metallica, and he did 10,000 Days, which is one of the best Tool records and one of the best records in general, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm excited to see what's happening because it does seem to line up. It does seem to be right, and they're playing a couple of festivals and they're playing around in a couple of different places this summer, and I, you know, it's going to be good. I think we've been waiting about 13 years since 10,000 Days came out, which means we've been waiting the same amount of time for a new Tool album as Kingdom Hearts fans have been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3. And I think 2019 is our year. You know?
Maybe.
I feel like you're not as excited about this as I am. I am a huge Tool fan. I think they're great. I love everything that they've done except for Perfect Circle, and I think that this is going to be, I hope that this isn't going to be trash, but given that it's like introspective music, it's almost, it verges on the jazz side of things, to be completely honest. I don't think it's going to be bad. I'm excited to see what happens with this. I would kill to see these guys go on tour with like Animals as leaders or something and just have like just a really good time listening to loud music that makes you want to cry. You know?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, this I
How do I
just
feel
don't
about
want this
Tool?
I don't want this to fall into a category with like the Weezer album that just came out where it's like, stop. You need to stop. But it's been 13 years. There's a reason. There's got to be something.
They're gonna end up like fucking Slipknot, dude.
How so?
They're gonna get older, slower, and it's gonna be shit.
I
imagine if like Tool just adds a fucking ballad, just
I'm down.
Me slow.
I'm so down. Honestly, if it's done in their style, I'm so down. And that's the thing. Tool's like metal chops have always been a second part to their atmospheric sound, like feel to their music. It's not about being heavy and it's not about being fast and loud. It's about this sort of like mathematical, this balance. Everything sort of feels like it's on the edge.
It's really hard to
heavy.
do math rock and 4/4.
Yeah, but none of them. Well, no, Maynard got his hair. Yeah, no, I don't know if they have enough hair to play in odd time signatures anymore.
Yeah, that. I mean, if they make it almost feel like that, that'd be cool. Like, you feel like you're almost listening to dad rock, but you're not really. But no, if they want to come back, they're gonna play fucking dad rock. Get over it.
I want you to be wrong so bad, and I'm willing to wait. We have a few more months before Maynard's claiming it's going to be coming out. When it does, I'm excited to put my thoughts into it. I'm really excited for that.
All right,
album
I hope I'm wrong.
I really hope you. I hope to God you're wrong.
I'm not, but I hope I'm wrong.
Oh God. So completely unrelated. So we're getting up onto it time-wise here. Completely unrelated. Are you aware of the fact that the lady who ran the brothel that Mr. Kraft was caught at has a selfie with the president?
Like regularly?
No, she there's this great picture. If you look at the screen share here, I'll pull it up. Where did it go? That's the beginning of this video. Or maybe it's not. Where is it? Where is the selfie? Well, for some reason, it's disappeared again. But the woman, yeah, there we go. This lady right here, apparently runs the brothel that Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, was caught getting some stuff done at. She's also a major campaign contributor and has a rhinestone encrusted MAGA purse. I just feel like you should be aware of that. I feel like that's a good thing to know.
All right. Well, here's what I'll say about all this. I don't care if people go to prostitutes, right? But what I don't like is sex trafficking. So the fact that it seems like he went to a place where the lady who gave him the hand job did not want to give him a hand job, that's kind of bullshit. If he was going to a place to a woman who wanted to give him a hand job for a fair hand job price, let the man get a hand job. But don't be getting discount hand jobs from anyone who just needs whatever the fuck they can get in the hand job market. That's a dickhead move. So if he's doing that as a man that rich, fucking kick him in the balls. I don't know, for 8 years. That seems fair enough. Like every day you show up, hold his legs apart, kick him in the ball. Like he can't have kids anyway, so he's just gonna get the pain of it. And either he learns to adapt, and then you let him go, and he dies shortly after from either old age or kicked to the nuts. We don't really know. It's hard to tell. And leaves his money to someone who will learn a better lesson than to do shit like that. Or, he lives a long life after that, and he's like, those kicks in the nuts really taught me a lesson. I don't know. Like, what do you want? A monetary fine against the guy? Like, I guess you can take money away from him. Be like, here, maybe that's what we should do. We should make fines and just applicable to how much money you make compared to, I don't know, reasonable expenses. You take the average cost for a mortgage or rent or food for Americans, put that on the census, and then you just say, all right, well, here's how much it costs for the average human being. You make that much more, so here's your fine, blah blah blah, and then it just costs more for rich people to do shit. Don't they have countries that do stuff like that where it just costs more money for like a speeding ticket if you're rich as fuck? And
yes, there's lots of places that have income proportional fines, especially when it comes to like motor vehicle violations. But I totally agree. I think when you're dealing with people who are mega rich like that, just have it asset proportion.
Boom.
Which
done.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And hopefully we can keep having amazing selfies like this, and it'll just continue to fuel this. I do think that we should have a fine incurred on the people who set up the lineup for Boston Calling this year, and for the record company that keeps on printing Weezer. All that put together, I think we've got to call it. Otherwise, we've talked for too long for today. But
there's no way this audio lines up correctly.
No, there isn't. But we'll work on that in post. I'll take care of it, and we'll get it up on the internet so that people can hang out with us. And we'll come up with some more stuff to talk about and some more new music. There's a lot of things that have been happening even today that are going to be interesting to talk about next week. But thanks for sharing some time with us.
I think more importantly, people should know, give us better topics to talk about. Or
keep making bad music so we have things to talk about. That's really the goal here.
Send us drugs. We'll take drugs, and we'll even get together and do this recording live all together, and we'll take a bunch of drugs, and we'll see what happens from there. That might be fun.
I suppose plans for the future. We've talked about how we want to pick an album, a recent album, and then have somebody who's an actual fan, somebody who's a connoisseur of that style of music, come and talk about it with us. And I think next week
fight me, motherfuckers. I will fight you on whatever shitty music you like. I don't even give a fuck.
Yeah. And I think next week we're going to get that going. I have a friend.
I'll tell you, I listen to all your shitty music. All the fucking time.
All right. We're going to make that happen, but we got to go for now. Thanks for hanging out. I will talk to everybody later.
Fight me!